How's it going, everybody? So for the next 2 days, I'm going to keep Revelation 17, 8 through 12 up. And because y'all know I do a column each day out of my dad's old King James, New Testament, then End Times. End Times is back and forth between Daniel and Revelation. Finished Daniel's 12th study, and now we're in Revelation's 12th study. And it splits right at verse 9. Really 7 through 12. I mean, it's just a continuation, but those four verses, 8, 9, 10, well, five verses, 8, 9, 10, 11. 8 plus 4 is 12, but when you include 8 through 12, that's a total of 5 verses. And so we'll go over that today. It's very detailed. They will overlap, the study will. But first, let's finish Matthew 13, get into Matthew 14. And his sisters, are they not all with us? Whence then have this man all these things? And they were offended in him. And Jesus said unto him, Yep, I told y'all yesterday. I think this is getting to that verse. A prophet is not without honor, save in his own country and in his own house. People that know you, in other words, people that know you too well. They saw you as a sinner before the Lord called you. They saw you doing all these horrible things or picking your nose and eating your boogers or whatever. And they're just like, no way can this person be a special in the mind, a special person for the Lord. And so that's what it would mean in today's terms. But back then they were referred to as prophets. And Jesus is even referring to himself as a prophet because they were talking about Jesus. And he did not many mighty works there because of their unbelief. So the Lord didn't actually flex much in his own hometown because they weren't, and it's part of the script. Obviously, he could have done whatever he wanted to, wherever he wanted to do it, and called whoever, wherever. But this is done this way or written this way as a parallel for us today. I do this Bible study every day. I've got a few people that are on my Facebook, for instance. They don't that believe in no free will properly, that hell is not eternal torment properly, but yet they don't listen to my Bible studies. They don't like them, comment on them, give a heart, even though a heart, is one of those whatever symbols. I use the heart all the time, though. But they just don't. Even people that would sort of believe that I'm telling the truth, they won't acknowledge me in public on social media because it's just not popular to do so. So even those that know me from my own hometown and the rest from my own hometown, they just like, oh, Jay's crazy. They can't fathom that maybe the one person in the earth, on the earth, that's telling the most truth, one person will say, like, I like Jim Brown. And I'm like, yeah, Jim taught me everything that I didn't know about election and predestination. I went and searched any preacher teaching on election and predestination when the Lord called me to the truth. And it was just the Lord that showed it to me. I don't say I discovered it on my own because it was the Holy Spirit that showed it to me. And then I found, after searching, Jim Brown, Grace and Truth Ministries, but unfortunately, he doesn't understand demons. He doesn't understand the end times. So he won't properly teach the book of Revelation or the book of Daniel. He believes in tithing, where tithing is old covenant. he believes hell is eternal punishment for the goats, as if the goat has eternal life. Nope, they sure don't. So there's just a ton of things that he does wrong. So I don't share him much on my Facebook. And when I do, I have to preface, watch out. He doesn't understand this, and that. But when you exclude these things, then this is a good lesson. Do you see the work you have to go through? It's just too confusing to people. But anyway. So let's go on to Matthew 14. And at the time, Herod, the Tetrarch, how do you pronounce that? Well, it's been a while since we've done this. Let's do it. Let's get into the old pronunciation.
Tetrarch. Tetrarch.
Tetrarch? What in the world? One more time.
Tetrarch. Tetrarch.
Let's go slow.
Tetrarch.
Tetrarch. Okay, well, basically the way it looks. And now let's go definition. A sovereign or governor of the fourth part of a country. Okay. I like it. So at the time, Herod, the Tetrarch, and by the way, it's spelled with a CH here. And yeah, it is there. I'm sorry, I was thinking about the pronunciation. Duh. Oh boy. The Tetrarch heard of the fame of Jesus. And he said unto his servants, this is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead. And therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him. For Herod had laid hold on John and bound him and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife. For John said unto him, it is not lawful for thee to have her. And when he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude, because they counted him as a prophet. But when Herod's birthday was kept, see, the pagans keep birthdays. Notice they never kept Jesus's birthday. See, he received gifts as king of the Jews, but it was never celebrated the year after that. Only the pagans do that, because what they're doing is what people are doing today, whether they know it or not. It's the ritual of, we're all a god. Just like the lie in the garden. Don't you know that you can become a god yourself, or that you're whatever, something like that? Don't you know that you can become a god yourself? Genesis. Oh, don't you know that you could become a god yourself? And what in the world? Let me see if I can find what I think I'm looking. That's basically what it is. Ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And that's what it is, that everybody's a god for a day on your special day. And you get the gifts that like Jesus did every year, because you're like God. But Jesus received the gifts just at birth because he was God. He was king of the Jews. And so before them, and it pleased Herod, and the daughter of Herodias danced before them and pleased Herod, whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. And she, being before instructed of her mother, said, give me here John the Baptist's head in a charger. And that's the car I drive. So you have to wonder, is Wednesday my appointed day? or we'll get to the rest of the study Thursday. Is Thursday my appointed day? Never know. All right, let's continue on. Revelation 17. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and that's what red and blue make purple. And that's why a lot of your country's flags are red and blue, blue and red. In scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon, the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And it's all capital letters of each word there. And I saw the woman, again, Satan has shapeshifted into the goddess. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And when you look that up, it's like astonishment, jaw-dropping. Doesn't mean he liked it. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? And I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and the beast that carrieth her, which have 7 heads and 10 horns. And the beast that thou sawest was twin trumps, twin towers, and is not, twin trumps are down, shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. So when he takes the right eye wound on the 3rd day, like Jesus, spiritually though, because it's not really him that takes the hit. And we can go ahead on now and move over here. Shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, and he'll be running World War III. But nobody will know he's alive because it wasn't really him that took the hit, but they all think he's dead. But he will not trick them appearing to have risen from the dead until what is known as the abomination of desolation. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. If you're a goat, that was established that you would be a goat from the foundation of the world. When they beheld the beast that was and is not and yet is. And here is the mind that have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. And this was put out by an AI YouTube site. And we know that Trump referred to himself as Alexander the Great and Napoleon at a Super Bowl commercial for Pizza Hut. He said, Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Donald Trump are all cut from the same cloth, and that cloth is very, very large. Well, large that it spans over such a long period of time. And I know Nebuchadnezzar is one of them because not all are fallen. Nebuchadnezzar was a sheep. If it's 5 out of the 7, or if it's 5 out of the 6, then there's no telling who the second one here is. Could be Darius the Third. But if it's 5 out of the 7 are not fallen, or are fallen, that means 2 are not. That would be Darius the Mede, who came after Nebuchadnezzar. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is. Now it's talking about the Antichrist. So is it 5 out of 7 or 5 out of the 6? And then it's the Antichrist that begins to be the 7th. When you read it, it could go either way. So it's impossible to tell. And 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And that's out of the twin trumps or the twin towers. 1 is, and the other is not yet come. 1 takes the hit, and the other comes back, as seemingly risen from the dead. And that's why here it's going to say the 8th is of the 7, because it's a body double switch. 5 are fallen and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. I believe it's 3.5 days of the great tribulation. Very short space. And the beast that was, the twin towers, and is not, whoops, twin towers are down, the twin trumps are down, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, because it's body double switch, and he goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as of yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. All right. But today's study ended at verse 9, but I will go back over this overlapping. Tomorrow we will begin with verse 10, and we'll do a little more about it.
Alexander the Great, Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Donald Trump, we're all cut from the same cloth. And that cloth is very, very large. Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Donald Trump, we're all cut from the same cloth. And that cloth is very, very large.
So you see they're giving you the twin trumps there, or the twin trumps here. So it's the 7th and the 8th. And that's how they do what they do. They're always giving you truth in plain sight. We know that the truth is stranger than fiction. And I know for many, this stuff is it's just too much. They just can't. They're just like, they don't want to discuss it. And you have to respect that, the will of the Lord. All right, love you.